Hey guys, so I want to take some time to go ahead and go over some of the basics of GitHub with you so that way you know how to utilize this tool when working on your code. As mentioned before, GitHub is essentially like the save function for your code and allows you to keep track of your progress as you make changes. Here you'll see in the code tab that we can see all of the code available currently on the master branch. The Issues tab contains issues, which are essentially pieces of functionality to be worked on. Whenever you have a piece of code that you plan to develop, it is typically best practice to create an issue and describe that functionality. Now, here we have a brief description that explains what we're trying to work on. We want to create a REST API that runs on port 5000 and returns hello world to requests on the route/hello. I've assigned this to myself, and if we look back on the code tab under the branch button, we'll see that I've also created a branch, issue1 Flask API hello world, that contains the code that will be worked on for this issue. So I've cloned this particular repository utilizing git clone. So to show you what that looks like, I'll go ahead and clear this out. I'm going to change directories to my home directory, and I'm going to go ahead and remove my repository that I cloned. And now I'm going to clone it from scratch. Git clone, and paste that URL. And we'll see that everything has been downloaded. If I change directories now, and run a git status, we'll see that I'm on branch master and my branch is up to date with origin master. Now, if I do git branch, you'll see that same thing reflected here. If I do git fetch --all, oops, sorry. If I do git checkout, actually, with that branch name from earlier, we will see that I will change to that branch locally. Hello world Flask. Let me go back and get that file name correct, or the branch correct. It should be issue1 Flask API hello world. Hello world. Okay. Now, branch issue1 Flask API hello world has been set up to track remote branch issue1 Flask API hello world from our origin repository. And if I run git branch again, now we'll see that we are on the issue branch, issue1 Flask API hello world. Now, if I go ahead and make some changes to some of the code within this branch, for example, the hello world Flask API readme, and I go ahead and insert a brief description, or title rather, for this project. And then run git status, we'll see that those changes have been recognized by Git. In order to take those changes that I've made and add them in, I will run git add hello world Flask API readme.md, And when running the command git status again, we'll see that now this file's changes have been added in, and these changes now are staged and ready to be committed. Committing these changes will save them to your local Git history. So if we do git commit -m update readme and then run git status, we'll see that our local branch is ahead of our origin issue1 Flask API Hello World branch now by one commit. And that's because we have changes saved locally that we haven't saved on our remote repository. In order to save those changes, we will run git push. And we'll see that now we have pushed our commit from local into the remote repository. If we go now back to GitHub and refresh the page, we should see that we're able to now make a pull request from this issue branch into master. And we should see the changes that we made reflected here beneath. We see one new line has been added onto this file through this commit right here. So I'm going to go ahead and create this pull request. I should edit this and make sure it has a description. And ideally, I would be assigning people within the group as reviewers to check out my code. If everything looks good and everyone's signed off, we can go ahead and merge in this pull request. Now, if we look on the master branch, we'll see that the code from 2 minutes ago, the update to this README file has now been shown here. And we can see that that file now has the same contents as what we edited in locally earlier from our terminal. So when we're working together on these projects as a group, it's a good idea to remember that you can utilize these different features, branches, issues, etc., to keep track of your code, to keep yourself organized, and to prevent any sort of conflict when working on code as a team. It's very important that we follow these steps outlined here in this README in order to make sure that we prevent any broken code from being pushed up to GitHub. In the future, I will link a flowchart that explains how we will go through these different steps as we add more checks in, such as automated testing and automated compilation. So I hope that helped, and if there's any questions, definitely feel free to reach out, and I will do my best to help. Thank you.